Cool, boys.
Excellent.
Right. See you back at the hotel. Let's get to the rooftop bar.
And this is Dave.
Right, okay, thank you. Do you forget for a moment there?
Yeah, I wasn't sure, man. So, look, we've got 12 minutes. There is a countdown that's going on. We're going to wrap up everything that you've seen tonight.
11:49, 48, come on, Dave.
God, what happens when it gets to 0, man? And Holly's got a list of stuff that we're going to go through, we're going to chat through, and then we're going to get Glenn and Michael back on stage to answer a couple of our questions. So, Holly, kick us off, Holly. What's the number one on your list?
Okay, so this one kind of sounds a little bit daft, but with Call of Duty World War II, they have said that they haven't been able to make this before because it needed current-gen technology. So they couldn't do it previously.
It certainly looks different. Dave and I are quite old, and we remember World War II games that we used to play on old systems. They did not look like this one.
I know, I distinctly remember playing Call of Duties, like the first 4, in 4x3, through a SCART lead.
Yeah, very close to the screen.
I mean, HD World War II. Come on, Dave. HD now. It's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were saying, it's very appropriate that we're here at the end. This screen is enormous. I hope they don't put our faces on it at any point, because that would be terrible for everybody. Yeah, it's really appropriate here. It's going to be a big cinematic experience. But it's also got a story, Holly, point number 2.
It does have a story. Yeah, we're actually going to be following Private Red Daniels.
The most American name ever.
It is the most American name ever because he is in the American army.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But however, there will be Allied soldiers as well, so you'll come across the French and the British.
Yeah, and it's a story about camaraderie. I picked up on that term a lot, camaraderie.
Yeah, you do. I can't even say it. I say it wrong. I say camaraderie.
Well, you're saying it wrong.
Well,
it's
that's
camaraderie.
why I didn't say it.
So that's pretty exciting. I mean, you know, it's going to be a story about a squad, not just a person, and how they interact. There's also going to be iconic World War II moments.
Definitely, like the feel of it.
You like number 3.
Yes, or if you like, yeah, number 3.
Well, it's good. The journey is very much kind of 1945, 1944 through Europe from D-Day. It's the kind of, it's the classic. I think Band of Brothers is a big touching point for people of my generation. So it's going to be, moving from kind of France, that big kind of set piece of the D-Day landing, all the way through to Germany.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some of the D-Day landings in the trailer, which looks harrowing and horrible. And they've also spoken about the Battle of the Bulge, the liberation of Paris, and then I heard the Rhine was mentioned, and it
you were really taking notes,
in 1945.
You were doing well.
I'm just saying, man. You know what else happened in 1945?
Wikipedia. Yeah, quick wiki before we came out here.
I'm so conscious of the numbers, Holly. These ones ticking down, and our next one, which is.
Right, we're going into the multiplayer stuff. We're starting with headquarters.
Yeah.
For me, I thought this was one of the coolest things. This is like a social space. So this is where you can almost come and hang out beforehand. I want to know a little bit more, and I think I'm going to try and push Glenn and Michael to give me a bit more later on as well.
Exactly. Imagine if we got the opportunity to actually
ask them. They said sneak peek, and it was like the sneakiest peek ever. I mean, it was like looking through a little crack in the door.
I actually missed it. Yeah,
you were writing notes at the time. But I mean, it's pretty amazing. That's like a completely new innovation for Call of Duty. So I don't know what that is going to mean.
Dude, it might be something that's like a Call of Duty Online I'm good at now, just hanging out.
Well, that's the bit you're good at. I'm really good at multiplayer.
Space.
Just hang out and chat to people and make friends.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really social.
You're really bad at making friends.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Dave. And also there were some new modes which have been announced. Holly, you have a line to tell us about. This is on point number 5. Divisions, right?
I will tell you my line about divisions. So this basically allows you to take on, funnily enough, different divisions. For example, you could take infantry, or you could take being in the armored division. However, it will impact your MP progression.
Yeah, this is such a huge thing on Call of Duty. So it's really interesting that there's this like a mode that's going to kind of change the way that you progress through the online system. And there's another one, Dave, which has got my favourite. I
like this one.
I don't know how they came up with this name, but one of them's called War. So, new mode called War. Can you tell us, and what are the details on War, Holly?
I will tell you the details on War mode. This is narrative driven. So the idea here is the players take part in some of the iconic World War II battles, the Allied versus the Axis forces, but this time you're in teams and you're fighting for strategic objectives.
Right.
As soon as I heard strategy, man, I thought...
I'm thinking, big war room table, pushing around little guys, and then doing the battles for the greater good, your team.
So it's just great, but it is great that, that there's new modes coming, there's new multiplayer experiences still coming out of Call of Duty. Yes. We need to move along, though. We're talking about kind of online experiences. Co-op mode, we tossed a coin. Who gets to say it?
Dave gets to say it.
Nazi zombies.
There we go. I
was sorry. I was overwhelmed by the moment then. Nazi zombies. Which, you all saw the art. Looks ridiculously hideous. Like really, really horrible. And they've, again, just whet our appetites with that. So not a lot to say, but well, you know a little bit about the story, right, Holly?
Yeah, the idea is Third Reich, they're getting desperate, so they've turned to the crazy science, which has created Nazi zombies.
Yeah, it's the classic Nazi zombie story.
Nazi occultism.
Yeah.
Bad dudes. And we're gonna round out. Obviously, we're from PlayStation Access, so this is good news for us. The PlayStation relationship.
Thank you to the one person who walked, by the way. Listen, that's really nice of you.
We can't see you because of the lights, but you're my favourite. And the PlayStation relationship continues for another year. Holly, what does that mean?
So we know the beta is coming, but we can tell you that you will be playing it first on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that's right.
That's great.
There's some PlayStation fans in the audience.
Right, well, I guess we should kind of move on to the next bit. So that was our wrap-up. So in case for some reason you missed the live stream, this was kind of the wrap-up of everything that was shown and hopefully a little bit more. But I guess we should bring our guests out so we can grill them and try and get more information.
Brilliant to put some questions too. Let's welcome back onto stage Glenn and Michael from Sledgehammer. Hi guys.
I'm going to perch.
Thanks.
Hide.
Haley, nice to meet you.
I think it was camaraderie.
Is it camaraderie?
Oh, dude.
No, I've said that to
Oh,
thousands of
this is
people.
cool.
I can't
Perching.
spell it, that's for sure.
Oh, that's
Relax.
embarrassing. Oh, I'm going to have to change my
I
question.
don't have a pocket to put my hand in to look really relaxed.
So, guys, so that was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much for joining us back on stage. For people who watch our channel, it's not a Call of Duty kind of dominated channel, so we hear boots on the ground a lot, right? And I think anyone who follows Call of Duty knows exactly what that means. But for the tens of people out there who don't, could you just kind of give us a sense of what does that mean for Call of Duty, where it is now, and what does boots on the ground, going back to boots on the ground, mean?
Yeah, I mean, boots on the ground, classic Call of Duty, run and gun, fast action, strategic gameplay, right? It's what Call of Duty was born with and what we're bringing it back to.
Yeah.
So it's fun, it's fast, it's strategic, it's that great skill-based gunplay that made Call of Duty what it is today.
And it's also, I mean, one of the things that really struck me from your presentation, and I mentioned Band of Brothers on stage. I've actually been watching with my son. He's probably slightly too young to watch it, so I won't say how old he is, but it is very interesting to think that there's a generation of players out there who this is going to be their first kind of big media exposure to World War II, right? And that's something that you guys get to give them. So is that something that you guys as a studio have thought about a lot?
Yeah, we knew there'd probably be 1-2 generations that haven't really watched Private Ryan, and it's been 10 years since the last World War II game with Call of Duty. So that was one of the reasons why we paid real attention to getting everything right and trying to really tell the story. And as we said earlier, it's about respect, and so we want to make sure that they're not, if they do, when they play the game, they learn something, and what they do learn will be correct. It's still about having fun, but get the details right.
I can tell you though, when we started this journey almost 3 years ago, it was really wanting to tell a really impactful narrative and a story, largely to ensure that this sort of conflict doesn't happen again. And as we dove in with our military historian and got to know the veterans and really researched, it was powerful for us because not only were we telling the story so that it would never happen again, but we're telling it because the people who fought in that war aren't here to tell it for themselves, right? And so there is a lot of honor and respect that we've put behind this. Everybody at the studio's put behind it because
we learned a lot. I mean, we learned so much, digging really deep into it. And I think one of the other things is that in the last 20 years, a lot more information has gotten out. So, we've got some details that, may not have been around.
And guys, we talked a lot today about the the characters involved, and it obviously focuses around Red, but there's, dare I say, camaraderie or camaraderie. There's a squad. There's a squad of men. Exactly, friendship. There's friendship between soldiers. Any chance we're going to be seeing any of the story told from any of their perspectives, or is this very much Red's story?
Well, it's Red's story, but it's also the story of the platoon and what they. Who and what they encounter. So we will have different characters. I mean, this is an international war, so and it's also a different time, right? So we have a lot of different characters in the game, and we talked about Rousseau earlier, and Sussman, and Crowley, who's British. We also have. We have we bump into an African-American platoon that was there, and of course the way that they were treated is going to be shown in the game, and we don't really pull any punches in the game. We just try and tell the truth.
And, and really across the whole game, single player, multiplayer, zombies, this is a global cast and a diverse cast, right? So there's heroes of the war from all over the globe. Nearly every country is involved in some way, and so women heroes, men heroes, all kinds of diversity of opportunities to play characters throughout the World War II conflict, and that was important to us.
And Call of Duty is going back to World War II, which I know the whole world is very excited about, where it all began. Was part of your process at all going back and looking at the, the early Call of Duty games set in World War II, and if so, what were you looking for, and what did you learn from those?
Glenn and I have been making games for 20 plus years.
We remember them coming out.
And we were fans of the franchise before we were developers of the franchise, so it was a real honor to be given the opportunity as a studio. It was pretty humbling for Activision to give us a chance to bring it back to its roots. But we really wanted to tell our story, an original story. The 1st Infantry, the fighting first 15,000 or 35,000 troops.
Yeah.
And we chose a squad of 12, so it's a very original and unique story that we bring to life in this game.
Cool. Now we have 1 minute, so there's one question I really want to ask, and that is about headquarters. So obviously
you said you were going to grill us.
well, I've got a minute, so probably not.
Okay,
but can you really give us some kind of details? What do we do in this space? Now we've seen other online shooters with social spaces, and you can visit vendors, and you can interact with your friends. What are you actually bringing with headquarters?
Well, what I can tell you, E3 is going to be huge for us, right? But I will tell you, headquarters is a big deal. Headquarters is really a big innovation that we've put a lot of time into at the studio. We're calling it the off the front lines experience. There's so much great community of Call of Duty fans out there, and we want to provide a way for them to be rewarded, to compete, to be recognized, to show off, and to be social. So there'll be fun new things you can do only in headquarters. Uh-oh, I think I lost my mic.
No, you're good.
And
a
bunch of ways to really engage in the community in ways you haven't done before.
Amazing. Well, that is it, guys. Thank you so much for coming back out and joining us.
Appreciate it.
Guys, thank you so much for watching at home, for being here. We really appreciate it. Very, very nerve-wracking. Now, you guys, we would really like it if you would stay tuned for the YouTube channel, because there's always more coming up. We're definitely seeing you guys at E3 now.
Certainly, yes.
So you don't forget to join PlayStation Access, because there's going to be loads more coverage of Call of Duty World War II. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an incredible evening, and we look forward to see what you've got coming.
Yeah. Thanks to you, and thanks to everyone here.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been great.
The Second World War goes beyond all boundaries in every category. We see more nations involved in a single conflict. We see casualties higher than ever before. Just a generation before, at the end of the First World War, the Great War, they didn't call it World War I because they expected that nothing like this would ever happen again. And a generation later, something happens that's even bigger and even worse in so many ways.
We have the honor of making this year's Call of Duty called World War II.
Our chance to tell the epic, gritty, visceral story of the world's greatest conflict.
There is a genuine interest in producing a product that is historically authentic.
Every part of this game has been researched and nuanced and studied and scanned and photographed. We really, really tried to get the respect and the details right of the game.
This is about ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
The brotherhood, the camaraderie, the guy next to me. That became the theme for our game.
On a personal level, honoring the story was crucial for us, and it was something we really committed to.
Our story weaves in and out of real historical events. We've gone to great pains to create those authentic battles. One of the biggest things we wanted to get across was a sense of camaraderie.
The people you serve side by side with, you develop bonds with those people.
Hopefully players will walk away from this story feeling like they really know these guys.
Welcome to the Bloody First.
And they care about them.
Art influences the game in a huge way. The lighting and the tonality and the colors. We want to be able to have the player feel something
By creating a very believable environment, it allows the player to slip into this world.
The vision for the art direction we call dark and beautiful. It was emotionally dark, visually beautiful. More than just being cool and pretty, it's about trying to get people to have a deeper emotional reaction to the game.
Our modeling department is amazing. The weapons, vehicles, the tanks, even the cars you might see on a city street. The level of detail is just phenomenal.
It's a huge endeavor, but we have to stay true to the source material. We have to research and watch a lot of film, a lot of archive footage to see how combatants in World War II would behave. Sometimes the hardest things are the biggest payoffs. The combination of the model, the animation, and the audio creates that punchiness to the weapon.
We record everything. Every location we record in for the game. The ambiences, the music, the dialogue, everything has to be created from scratch. We had a real opportunity here to do a level of authenticity and reality, true to the war, true to the soldiers who fought in that war. We had this great opportunity with Marty Morgan, our military advisor. We spent a lot of time on a gun range with all of the authentic World War II weaponry.
It's critical to understand the absolute violence of the Second World War. It's critical to understand how weapons and firepower function.
This is a story that's bigger than all of us. This is a whole new generation who might not have a lot of experience with this time period. I think this is a great opportunity to have them experience that and feel that.
We've made something pretty incredible, and I'm very proud of it.
It's perhaps the greatest compliment I've been paid in my career to work on this project.
This is the most powerful game I've ever worked on. It's very personal, it's very humbling.
You know, I've been making games for over 26 years. And I'll tell you, it's the best game we ever made.